as a kid, my older brother, always picked on me for being like the fattest one in the family. He would he would say some of the meanest things. Like he was a terrorizer, all right? And I didn't think about it or realize it until you just said it right now, that it wasn't until he moved out of the house that I then became a health
Yeah.
conscious individual.
There's something important that I'd love for all these like women and men out there to listen to. Why you couldn't have the motivation to do what you did when he was still around and go to the gym and whatever else is because you're living in something called a shame spiral. So when you have your perpetrator or the monster continuously over you, you'd think, oh yeah, that's going to help me make change. It's at the start is when you create the guilt mechanism, is when you feel like, okay, I'm going to go out and do something. But when the shame is so heavy, sometimes you bypass that guilt mechanism. And now shame deactivates most of your body physically. So you don't even have the physical motivation to get up and change because it's trying to just get you shut down there. And I wanted to talk about what it even does to accumulating adipose or fat tissue in the body. Because when you get into a shame space, your body is feeling so victimized that you are not capable, you're not good enough, you're not valuable enough. Now, if you feel so heavy about yourself that you're not capable, and on the other end, some other part of your mind saying, let's get up and go to the gym, let's get up and change our lives, you're not going to be able to do it. You have this massive lack of motivation. The chemicals in your body are not even letting you move physically. So you can't be able to get out and do it. And here's the third and the worst point about this, especially women deposit shame in and around their hips. And here's the science behind how physiologically that happens. When you go through an extremely stressful space, your body shoots two chemicals through your body, adrenaline and cortisol. Adrenaline is basically the upper to get you to fight and run away. So this came from the time when, early man had to run away from like saber-toothed tigers, for example, and then ran away and hid in a cave, waiting for the threat to go. Now, when you're in the cave, part two of the stress hormones comes in, which is cortisol, which is the downer. Now, cortisol is what makes your body like shut down. Now, we don't have those stresses today at home. We don't have those saber-toothed tigers. But when we get stressed, the first thing we'll do is get upset. We don't have a healthy way of working through that adrenaline. And then after that, we'll get into cortisol, which will go lock ourselves in the room. We'll go and we'll just sit down and hibernate. But here's the crazy thing about cortisol. Cortisol is secreted and attaches to fat cells in your body. So the more stressed you're feeling, the more cortisol you have, your body needs to create more fat sources around you because it's trying to get you to hibernate for longer, right? That's why bears are big and fluffy and fat, because they hibernate for so long, so their body doesn't need any more nutrition. So the crazy thing is, you're very stressed just by sitting at home, getting off the phone with a partner or a salesperson or something else, or even paying your bills, is unconsciously what's also developing just fat cells on your body if you don't have a way to work through that stress physically or emotionally. And that's also shame gets you locked down and even gets you to put on weight. So you have to, part two of this is any person going through it has to find a way to draw a boundary with the perpetrator, with the monster that's creating the shame, because otherwise you're not going to be motivated to make that change.
Boy, wow. You just get better every time. That just made so much. So by him not being in the house, a boundary was created at the height of the time that I created the most boundaries. And in this space where I am right now, what's also interesting about that is I have also created very firm boundaries with certain people in my life. So I've kind of removed those monsters, as you could say.
Right.
And then I went through, I call it a detoxing of my cells and everything,
Right.
at a very deep level. And then I felt like I could start over again and then start eating fruits and vegetables and drinking more water and things like that. And so the monsters didn't look that big anymore.
Yes, that's the key thing, is that it's not that a lot of people are like, oh, then I should just draw a boundary with my brother and never talk to him again. It's not that. You need to draw a boundary with your brother until you get into a better place for yourself, stronger, more capable, better self-defense. You've got your defenses up, you've got your offense, you're ready to go, you're strong. Then the monster comes in, and you're like, oh shit, that's just a pipsqueak, and now all this shit's just like just going by me. It doesn't make the
Mhm.
same difference anymore.
And you
So
can see them differently.
Hey, and welcome to the Inner Yats YouTube page. If you like our content, make sure you click the like and the subscribe button so that you get more of these amazing videos that keep coming your way.